Hello, everyone. We're at the Universal Open in Jakarta, Indonesia. I'm Jeremy Jones. I'll be joined by Patrick Nix here in the commentary booth. We have two great players here in one of the quarterfinal matches, the semifinal matches to follow this round, and again, the final later on in the decisive match. It's a Harry VERGARA against JEFREY RODA, two guys that know each other really well, and just getting to watch them warm up there for a few racks. They both, of course, knee deep in this tournament, so should be in stroke, but they both look very good at the table. So I expect a really high quality match. And Patrick, you with us?
Yeah, I am. Thanks for the introductions, Jeremy. Good to be with you.
Yeah, it's should be a good match. I mean, two guys that I really like to always watch play. Both of them kind of hit the scene just the last few years. Harry a bit older than Jeffrey, and really as good as Harry plays, and kind of really showed everybody. I believe when he beat Shane Van Boening, I was trying to recall if it was Hanoi, but I think it may have been Saudi the first year we had the World Championships there. He beat Shane in an incredible match. Both of them played excellent, but what I was getting at, it's kind of hard to believe that for the rest of the world, anyways, he's just really kind of hit the scene the last maybe 5 years, 4 or 5 years. Where Jeffrey, he's just a young player, so he's kind of new in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I hear the name Jeffrey Rhoda a lot more recently. It's he's definitely made a name for himself in this game and solidified his position as one of the great players of the sport. Um, and anybody
Right up
that
there. Sorry about that. But go ahead.
any players that get to this level of the tournament definitely they have to be playing top level pool. It's a pretty stacked field. Started 128 players a few nights ago, down to just the final 8 players left.
All players having a difficult shot. I think Jeffrey's bank was a little easier than Harry's kind of awkward to thin shot on the two near the cushion. But what I was getting at with Harry, he's so talented that, I kind of feel like because I'm not sure of his age, but I think it's around the mid 30s. Um, but I feel like we would have seen more of him years ago. You know what I mean? But also, he also lived outside the Philippines for many years and still may. And a lot of those guys that do that also have some other type of career besides pool. So,
Yeah, it is a tough sport to have as your primary mode of income.
okay, so a big mistake there on something that's just a kind of routine. But it's a long race to 11, so it's not about perfect pool. It's about improving as the match goes on and settling in as quick as you can.
Oh, there we go. We got the scoreboard updated with the names for you guys.
He's going to give this a chance to go in the corner. Four is going to come down. I don't know if the seven's going to help. It's not. So Jeffrey's going to get a good chance. Pretty straight here, though, with the purple five up the table.
Do you think he might attempt to draw this into the 9?
Nah, I don't think so. I think he'd just try and get out to get a shot. If he just gets that open look, one of his big strengths. Oh, looky here. It must have been that straight to where
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
couldn't do
because
much with a cue ball.
I was thinking hit the 9 full and you're still on the 6, right?
Well, you got to shoot the five, the purple
Oh,
five.
yeah,
That's
sorry.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
looking at the 5. Yeah,
yeah.
he's in a bad spot then. That's
I'll tell you what, if he crosses this ball, the problem with crossing this is the bank you leave onto the nine. Now he left an open shot. But
oof.
let's say you chip the five to the back rail and try and make the nine. If you don't make the nine, you leave a pretty big pocket for the 5-9 combination off the bank shot. So not sure what I would have done there. But both these guys usually play at a pretty decent pace also. We are playing with a shot clock. Indonesia, of course, they didn't carry any players into this final 8, but I think it's a country you're gonna have to look at in the future because I think they're trying to invest in pool as much as they can, and plus the 4th biggest country in the world, I believe so, population-wise, over 100,000,000.
Yeah, and shout out to Matchroom for putting on these events and getting some of these players in these countries recognized. Uh, Whereas, a lot of them, like you said, they have other occupations besides pool, and so travel is difficult to the states or other places. However, you know, flying from the Philippines is not that big of a deal to Indonesia. So nice.
Southeast Asia, you can bounce around pretty well, pretty
Yeah, I
easily.
think I think so. And it's yeah, the Filipinos made a great showing in this tournament already. When it was down to 32 players left in the event, I believe 25 of them were from the Philippines. So real strong showing.
Scrolling, in that final 32, and I saw a lot of that Filipino flag, and I did see Yap. I'm not sure who beat Aloysius Yap there, and I think maybe the final 16 it was. Not sure what that was.
Yeah,
We'll try and get you that information, but
it was actually Harry Vergara. Actually,
okay.
The-
That's what I thought I'd saw because they
yeah,
were at the top of the graphic, I believe,
yeah, that
when
went
I
hill
when I
hill. It was the last match of yesterday. Went hill hill, and Harry got it 10-9. I didn't actually watch it because it was very early in the morning for me, but looked like an exciting match to watch.
those balls there didn't break how he wanted. The cue ball, of course, getting lost is the worst thing you can do really in the sport, the scratch on the break. But you can see just didn't really get a lot of movement on the balls either. He's gotta make a nice shot here on the 1 just to get proper on the 2 to make things, kinda playable on the 3. I mean, the two's near the 3, so there's gonna be options. I probably draw this somewhat close to the 2 myself.
Are you thinking maybe around like right in here for the two, so you can bump out the three real good?
Yeah, just
Or
like like he
oh
like he
yeah,
did though, maybe not don't threaten that purple 5 too much. The 3, it goes short side to the opposite corner.
yeah, good
So
point.
and also when you get a little closer, if you're comfortable doing so, you can kinda manipulate the angles a little easier, with a little spin or maybe killing the cue ball.
Yeah, especially if you're feeling good about the table, and obviously they've had 4 days on this or 3 days on these tables, but this being the first of the day, sometimes the conditions, as you know, change from match to match.
Yeah, the mornings, the evenings, it just depends on where you're at with the climate, but, um, we're on 4-inch pockets. I think it's a Rasen Acura table. And, Jeffrey, I just like watching him play. He keeps it real simple. If I remember right, reading about him a little bit, had a little bit of a snooker background at one point, played a little snooker, which was not too common in the Philippines. I don't know if you ever remember the guy Marlon Manola,
Oh yeah,
great player. Yeah, well, he was the same, and both them carried the same kinda deal where it's not so much the Filipino pump, kinda,
yeah.
I mean, it's still loose and it's still pretty to watch, but it's a little more of a simple swing, very minimal movement, extra movement, that being. Now he's gonna draw this. Looks like he's cueing low.
It does.
Well, that'll build some confidence.
Yeah, that was a nice stroke. Like you
Jeffrey,
said,
go ahead, Patrick.
I said, like you said, scratch on the break is about the worst thing you can do in this game at this level. It's you're the heavy underdog when you scratch on the break in any rack.
And it just, kinda knocks the wind out of you a little bit, I think, per se, and, It's just, whether it's unlucky or kinda right there, I wouldn't say it was on him too much. He went a couple rails back and forth into that side, but still, it's just one of the worst feelings at the table, but
Yeah, I did capture a replay of the first break. We'll take a look at that. That was a successful from Harry, getting that one into the side successfully. The second break, though, I didn't capture. It wasn't as controlled.
you saw that first one, the cue ball zigzagging forth on a straight line back between the rack, that's kinda ideal. There are variations of this break, though, which kinda makes the beauty in it, really.
Now, is there a lot of strategy in these players to be um, coming into the nine ball when they're coming across the one off the rail and come into the nine ball to potentially get the nine ball in on the break? Or do you feel like it's more about just making sure you get that one and controlling the cue ball as best you can?
Yeah, it just seems like the consistent result on the one gives you that cue ball back across through the rack. I believe if you polled the players, they would wish that 9 wasn't there. So the cue ball didn't get those bad kisses,
Yeah.
because you do make
uh,
some 9s, but that's ball and that spots are there for a reason, that middle of the table-ish, it creates a lot of hits that send the cue ball towards the corner or the side. So but not much strategy, I think they feel good about it if they're going into the 9. I think they feel good, "Alright, I hit the 1 how I wanted, I hit the draw stroke like I wanted," and so on. Like, there it was thin. Yeah, and then when you get thin, they kinda don't move as much. You see
oh,
them kinda dribbling around the table,
yeah.
the balls.
Very fortunate that the one just barely dropped in the hole right at the last second. It looked like it was stopped for a second at the edge of the pocket and then it drops in. So,
Well, the 1's up, the 3 is the one that went down.
yeah, the
The
three
one's in
is
the
what
l
I meant to say. Yeah.
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 I think he can play this rail first. It's a heavy masse this way. I don't know if I'd go this way. This is maybe all about the 2. Wow, nice stroke. You talk about 2 shots I've seen already that the draw stroke on the 6 ball in the last game from some distance
Yep.
made it look easy, and believe me, anytime you got a masse with the rail there, if you overhit, you go into the rail, you don't get enough on it. If you let up a little bit, you go into the 8. So those are good signs for Jeffrey Rhoda.
Yeah. Good control. This one, he's got to avoid the purple, and he does successfully. Great stroke.
Yeah, and he's kinda got all the shots, in my opinion, and, he made a real name for himself, a deep run at the US Open a couple years ago when Shane was trying to get that title number 6. He lost to Federer Gorst in the final. I believe Jeffrey did he make the semis, I believe? I believe he did. May have been the quarters, but so many matches these days, hard to keep up with the memory all the time, but kinda when he strikes the ball, you kinda say, like, he's got soft hands, he kinda just makes things look real simple.
Yeah. And I noticed that as well. You watch players like Rhoda, and it just it makes it look so easy, and it's so difficult.
Yeah. Well, what he does and a lot of the Filipinos is a lot of what I try to express to people when I help them about, how to generate power easily. You notice they go through the ball, which, means you're just accelerating, gaining speed all the time, and you get a lot of easy power that way. And what I feel about it the most, especially when you're competing, I think this type of technique holds up the most under pressure.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It takes that edginess out of your stroke.
Yeah, and any individual sport, whether it be golf, tennis, pool, you're always going to have exceptions and unique individuals, that do it a little differently. But I think if you another 10 years from now, you're going to see a ton of players be looking a lot the same with the stroke once the science really gets into the game. Yeah, it's a beautiful masse there.
So Rhoda with the run out on the scratch on break in the previous rack, and then a break and run. So the scratch on break essentially cost Harry 2 racks there, and that's the most painful part. A lot of times an error on the break is not just one but multiple racks at this level.
Yeah. We don't mark them down as unfortunate or, your fault just because it happens both ways, but nevertheless, like you said, it has cost him a couple games and really even worse, maybe let Jeffrey kind of settle in a little bit. We always talk about it.
Oh,
There's nothing better to come off of like a mistake or maybe early in the match is to get ball in hand to where
yeah.
the first couple shots are going to be pretty secure.
Yeah, get your stroke going, get your confidence going. Well, I'll tell you what, if his confidence is not going, I don't know what is, because the last two runouts were look like absolutely perfect cue ball control. Let's see how he does with this break.
They play a little two different breaks, these two. He pulls the cue ball a little further in, plays more of a stun.
Yeah, that is a lot
Uh,
different.
yeah, where Harry plays it out more of a draw stroke. Now, to the referees on his end, the best way to say it is sometimes the rack isn't perfect, guys. Even though we're trying to get it perfect all the time, there's always a human factor in there, and you'll see sometimes when the nine pushes out of the rack quickly on its own without getting kissed, that usually means maybe one of the balls was just a hair off, and that can certainly affect the outcome on the one ball.
Yeah, and when you say a hair, you mean a hair. I mean, it's literally just a fraction of a millimeter, gap that you just can't see with your eyes unless you got really good vision. And even with a template rack, you can have those super small spaces, and yeah, it definitely makes a difference. How did he come out here?
Just let him see it. I'm not sure how much of it, but Jeffrey's not unhappy where he's at, and
Yeah, I mean, even if he can see any part of it, he's got to be happy with that.
it's a makeable ball. I mean, if he
Oh,
if he can hit a lot of it, he's going to knock it away. I think just because it is a little risky the cut shot, but if all he has is the right edge, it's certainly shootable. He's trying to draw behind the two off the side cushion.
oh, that was
Yeah.
really nicely done. Good cue ball, good one ball, and wow, you see a jump potential here. I'm not sure if the two impacts the jump over the three.
Well, I think he can get by the three to get to the side rail in some manner to get at the one. Yeah, in that
You can,
direction.
yeah,
Even if he had to manipulate it a little bit, I think that's the direction he's going to go in.
and then just maybe catch a thin piece, taking the cue ball all the way back up table again.
It just depends on how much of it you have to judge, like what's on offer, basically,
Yeah,
Patrick. Sometimes those things aren't on offer. So there's a two rail escape off the bottom cushion where he's near, or the top cushion rather, going two rails by the six. He's going to tie up the two ball, which I think is pretty wise. Not always easy, though. Yeah, like right there, it's
yeah.
not quite enough.
Just gave it a little nudge. He didn't want to have it, be wired for anything, I'm sure, but
It would have been a lot easier if he had a little more separation where he could actually roll the cue ball a bit. You know what I mean? It's hard to get that good touch when you're an inch away.
yeah, yeah. I kind of feel for Harry here because I mean he played a pretty good safe and just got a little bit unfortunate there with it leaking out a little bit at the end, and now it's completely turned around on him.
Yeah, and the worst part is he didn't get the two safe enough to where the top right pocket is not an option. I'm surprised he went
Ooh,
this route. This is
yeah,
really surprising. I would have
mm,
gone between the 6-8 and
that
dropped down below.
yeah, that's what I was assuming as well. There was a bigger gap to get through.
It's going to be a little heavy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Harry, this is your best opportunity so far in the last three racks.
And he did win game one, but it was kind of like a gift. Remember that
Yeah.
when Jeffrey tried to draw on the nine. And Harry made a couple little errors, even though they weren't easy. So this shot right now, I think to him looks pretty difficult.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it is difficult, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow, what a hit.
Yeah, like you said about the getting the momentum going, get the arm going, getting everything loosened up, get your confidence built. That's what he's looking for here. If you can get a couple of balls started and get through this rack, it's going to go a long way to, being that he hasn't really had much table time and he's got the opportunity to tie the score 2-2.
He's just
That
got a real thorough stroke. This man does really pure. Yeah, in other sports, I don't know how many other sports you played, but I played a lot of them growing up, long before pool, and you see it with pros as well. That kind of like the sweat and the exercise or whatever the heat of the moment kind of gets you going. In other sports, where pool, you have to kind of find your way to what loosens you up and makes you forget about things a little bit. Does that make any sense? A
It
little?
totally does. There's, sports where, like tennis, where you don't really have a lot of time to think about things. You're just reacting most of the time when you're in a rally. And pool, you have thinking time in between those, and it's hard to keep yourself in that mode, right?
Yeah, yeah, and in the other sports, it's the beginning of those matches until the body's heated up, and you've forgotten about what you've thought about prior to the match. And they talk about it in basketball all the time. When they start off missing a few, they know it's not going to continue that way. They're going to start burying those shots. So
Yeah. Well,
it's
Harry's
kind of
doing a
like a
great job here.
yeah, it was an interesting thing a few years ago during pandemic when all the schedules in sports got canceled and then rescheduled. Well, all the golf, the golfers, they picked the best weather in the world to follow around. Well, that year they had to play in the heat many weeks, and they didn't like it, but they actually shot the best scores on many of the courses that they ever played on in the tournaments.
Hmm.
And I think that was just because, when the body heats up like that, you get a little looser in those other sports. Amazing things kind of happen, believe it or not. But
Yeah, we do talk about that in pool a lot is getting loose, right? And
that's right.
you don't want to ever feel like you're tight at the table. Things just are much more difficult. And um, yeah, great run out from Harry to get back into this match. That's got to feel good for him. So, Jeremy, what was your favorite sport? I guess other than pool, what was it that
Uh,
you would say would have been your favorite? Were you baseball? Do I remember that right?
yeah, I mean, I played, football, basketball. Kind of quit basketball because I was a little slow, so I didn't play that past junior high, and then um, hurt in football. Kind of quit that. Then I stuck with baseball and tennis, but I pretty much picked up the baseball probably 300 days a year. Whether it was organized or not, I was a pretty good baseball player overall. So yeah, that was kind of my true love, I guess you would
Yeah,
say.
nice.
And then started pool right before the start of my senior year in high school, which is kind of late for pro players, but was around a lot of great players in the Houston area, so got to pick up things easily.
You seem like one of those people that once you start picking something up, you kind of take it to the uh, more extreme side of getting into things. But that's most
Yeah, yeah.
athletes. I think most people that become good at sports. That's kind of their personality, their mentality. Um, but what
I was
position did you play in baseball?
I played a little third base, mainly first base, and then caught, and then I was a catcher some as well. So, but mainly first base.
Okay.
Whenever I grew up, there was no select sports and all that. So you see how the nine pushed out of the rack there?
Yes.
Did you see how that happened? Yeah, we'll get a little look here. We'll see if we'll get it on the replay after Harry makes a decision. He doesn't mind going for these thin cuts. He has got a great cue ball, really good decisions, but he's also backs himself a lot on the difficult shot. We saw it on the two ball in the last game to get himself started. Yeah, center. And don't you feel like I feel like anyways, the game has kinda changed as far as the 2 players pretty quickly now seem a lot more settled. We
Yeah,
bump on
that
the
first
floor here.
the
Yeah.
first rack was very different from the rest of the racks that we've seen. It took them one rack. Both of them had made some errors in the first rack, and now they're both looking really settled.
I think that safety mistake in the last after he missed position, I think if Jeffrey would have backed off and just taken a look at it a little more, he kinda got down quickly after he didn't gain position with ball in hand and left that window for Harry to get started, and
Hmm.
he's putting a little something together here.
Yep. And this
Nice.
gentleman beat the number one seed last night in Aloysius Yap, so he's got to be feeling good as well.
We'll
Oh.
get a look at that here in a moment. I thought he could just kinda come one rail at the ball, and, it's not really me to judge, especially him being at the table, but just as a reminder, when it comes to that pool, and especially in the trying to win, gotta remind yourself it's a lot of what we need to do more than what we wanna do sometimes. The top inside feels good, but if you could get to, like, where Jeffrey's at right now, just coming one rail, that would have been just plenty good enough, right?
Yeah, good enough versus perfect position.
Right.
Sometimes, as players, we don't want to make that sacrifice, and we try. And the math doesn't really make sense when you think about it. At the end of the day, the odds of the potential to miss versus how much more you're going to gain in position.
Let
Uh,
that go a little bit, he's gonna get a little straight, but I agree that I always felt good about a little recovery here and there you know what I mean? Because it just set me up for the shot in front of me so much because 'cause I'm not trying to get super cute with the cue ball.
yeah, and I feel me personally, I'm a lot more accurate on difficult shots when it's a shot that I chose to leave myself because I didn't try to get perfect, and I feel like those are easier for me to make than I don't know when an opponent leaves it for me because I was expecting it. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, and, like a work a little more on a couple shots rather than a lot on one shot, right? So,
yeah, absolutely. So we're getting to
fast
see
paced
some.
though,
Sorry, go ahead.
fast paced match overall.
Yeah, very much. Let's check out that replay. I think we saved the replay of the. Oh, this is the
Yeah,
missed shot.
yeah, there's a ton of angle there. Did you see how high the cue ball came up off the second rail?
Yeah,
He coulda easily came one rail down towards the center and just been a foot or 2 further away from the 6. But I think we saved that break as well.
yeah. Let me get that. I think this is the one here.
Yeah, and watch the 9 push out of the rack here. See it push straight out?
Yep.
That usually means something in the back is a little loose, which can affect the 1. It didn't here, so we'll pay attention as we move on. I haven't got
Getting
to play on the CBPA cloth yet. I've watched a few tournaments, done some commentary. It seems a little faster than the cloth, used prior on the tour,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
would compare it to Andy cloth, as far as like a comparable cloth, and how it plays. And in my opinion, it's a little slicker than maybe your Simonis 860.
I think so, and I think it seemed like it played really well, pretty true, overall.
Yep.
So this is where to be honest, if the rack continues because the 9 pushed again there quite a bit, this is where the match can bog down a little bit because the racks can start to get very tricky with a lot of clusters and maybe some safety battles quite a bit. Big stroke, great stroke. Just 4-inch pockets kind of reared their teeth a little bit.
Yeah, kind of a two-way for him there. I mean, he knew he had to really put a lot of extra on that cue ball to get through that travel that distance and get through that window. And he had a great cue ball.
First look at the short cue.
Yeah.
This one, it's easy to want to hit thick a little bit, trying to cut it in. Just you're not wanting to whiff it, so you got to commit to that thin. And like that, he committed to it, and that can happen. Because if you just put a hair right English on that, you just get a hair swerve, and it's kind of natural to want to hit that with a little bit of right as well.
Yeah. And we talk about, a lot of times Filipinos are known for their kicking abilities. But obviously, many of them have an incredibly powerful jump stroke, an accurate jump stroke. But it isn't what they're known for as far as but the kicking is,
Struggle.
that didn't work out so good.
Caught a little bit of a gap there. I'm not sure to make a jump shot not that hard, but again, I'm with ball in hand. I'm surprised he didn't come to the center of the table,
Mm.
shoot it with low right. You usually have a much better feel for the line on the cue ball than the draw stroke to the rail and spinning back up table.
Yeah, he might have this. He's getting down to look at it or to look at how much of it he has. We'll see.
Amazing if he got the gap here. He did. It was definitely makeable. He caught a lot of the pocket with the two.
Mm. Feel a safety coming on here. Backside of the pink four.
For sure. Just knock it down the table. Could get him on the pink. He's going to leave it open a little bit as far as the kick shot.
Yeah, that made the kick a lot easier. Well, it made it possible to kick one rail at it or two rails at it. Right? If he's snugged up tight to the back of the four, it really blocks off a lot of kicking angles.
I'll tell you though, if he would have snugged him up, he probably ties up the 3 and 9, making things difficult. So we'll see how this turns out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's
Okay, he's got a decent sized pocket with the 6 there. I think he can cut it. He doesn't have to cut it to the pocket, just to the left edge of the 6. Well, he's looking at a safety. Maybe being elevated really hampers the offense.
yeah. Looks like he wants to put the cue behind the six.
It was touchy.
Yeah, you're
Really,
not kidding. That was very touchy. And also kind of risked lining up the 2 and 9. Potentially it didn't, but the risk was there of that one rail kick into the 2-9, which you never want to give up on a safety.
no, and to get any speed, he's going to have to masse this, and he's got to give it time to grab a little bit. Oh, well, can't complain there. Got some of the ball.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to like the outcome. It looks,
Well, I mean, these guys, I mean, they love getting back to the table. This is another level as far as, yeah, you're not going to be in a favorable position, but we do have a chance to make a good kick shot and maybe get a little fortunate behind it.
yeah. Just when I started talking about the Filipino and the kicking game, we we come into a little bit of a safety battle here.
Yeah, you want to two rail this with a high ball and go into the purple with the cue ball, let the two go up. He caught the two coming in, so this is
Yeah,
going to sell out a good shot.
the big challenge was the two was going to go into open space. There was really nowhere for it to hide, right?
Well, if he came 2 rails behind it and the cue ball slid up the rail, it wasn't that difficult of a kick, to be honest with you. You just had to kind of visualize and see it, because the 5 would have held the cue ball, and the 8's a big ball if the 2 comes up table. So I think if we saw like a few other players maybe kick that, you would see what I was talking about. But again, those don't ever have to work out just because it doesn't take much for the shot to, have a totally different outcome.
Sure.
So there's always value in trying to make a solid hit and maybe get a little fortunate. just like if you're kicking to make the ball. Some people say, "Oh, well, you should come across it every time." Well, you know, when you're kicking to make it, sometimes you do. And so, there's a little value in that as well. But sorry, everyone, if my voice is a little raspy. Been given a couple clinics and some pool stuff around the DFW area here the last couple days.
Yeah, I'm using
Tell
up
you
your
what, though, I haven't. Go ahead, Patrick.
just commenting, using up your voice on lessons and commentary. So I really
Well,
appreciate you doing this and being available. I know it's late at night for you, so long day. Appreciate
I
you.
was about to say that this pool's woke me up, though. I haven't felt this awake at 1:30, 1:40 in the morning in a while.
I tell you, if I didn't have my 3 hour nap, I probably would not be on here with you. You'd be going solo.
I'm a little jealous. All right, so this one here, don't let up. It's easy to let up and catch a little piece of the seven coming out. Yeah, that's good. Commit to the stroke and understand that the tip position is going to slow the ball down while also drawing it. If that makes sense. On these players, what a time to be a professional player, and especially just this part of the year coming up. These players are going to be gearing up for some really big events, and the biggest one of the year coming up, the U.S. Open at the end of August.
Yeah, pool is definitely it's doing some great things right now. The sport is changing a little bit. Technology is making it more available for the consumers to get interested in the sport. I feel like there's more new players joining the sport. Overall, I think it's positive growth and positive direction for pool as a sport. And it's good to see.
Yeah, I mean, at one point I did a lot of commentary over the last, I don't know, 15 years maybe. Um, but now I teach predominantly probably 30 plus weeks a year, whether it's here in DFW or traveling with it. And everywhere I go, pool rooms are packed, new players, um, talented players, and really people that just are very invested and love it. So I think pool's in as good a spot as it's been in a long time.
I agree, and I've had the benefit of traveling throughout the U.S. to dozens of different pool rooms and getting to see the different communities and the different vibes of each room, and but just the general excitement for the sport from the players in all of these places is great to see.
Without a doubt. All right, RODA to break game 7. It's a race to 11. You can see it's the quarterfinals. That's the break you want. The
Yeah,
timing. You see the nine stood still as well.
yep, just
Yeah.
rocked a little bit, and that was it.
Yeah. So, and you see how easy the spread was. So big shot here. He's going to have to probably turn it loose a little bit, drawing with low left, because he's got to get into the ball to be able to dig on it. He may end up going as far as all the way back across to really close to the three ball. We'll see.
Yeah,
This is
seems like a key shot right off the bat.
a hard one to just hold where you want. Oh, how beautiful was that? Now I don't know if he's going to get a reward with the gap. He is, but that's why I thought he might just let it go. That way he gets past those balls, a little bit, and he gets a little more draw on the ball probably. But now he's had one break and run already. He's set up now for another.
Yeah, I'd say he is set up quite well for the break and run here. That was the key shot, was the 2 to the 3. Executed it flawlessly. Uh, Almost got in a little trouble with the 9, but floating into that gap was all he needed.
How's the thought for the 7? Yeah, there, because you just want to get back to the center of the table for the 7, so a nice little angle on the 6 here will do. Perfect, actually. 2 rails across, probably.
Yeah.
He may go 3 rails with top and side. I wouldn't come all the way back myself, I don't think. He's not that thin, though, so he can get past the 8-9 if he wants.
That is what he's doing.
Really good.
Yeah. And at Millie Billiards in Jakarta, Indonesia, the house is packed. We've got I think a few hundred live spectators hanging out, watching their favorite players battle it out in the quarterfinal round. And what a treat it is for the local pool fans in Jakarta to get to have this event.
Without a doubt. I mean, just trying to inspire a nation that wants to play a lot of pool, right?
Absolutely, and I think they're there supporting wholeheartedly. I heard there was a couple hundred people um, in the building, and they had to kind of stop letting people in because of occupancy limitations. So, so that
Right.
tells you how packed it is in there. But they give the players lots of space to move around. They've got nice sectioned off areas. Very professionally run tournament. Huge shout out to Fulkin Sports for managing and bringing this event to Jakarta, and for bringing us in for the additional stream tables on EvoSports. So right now, currently, there are several streams running. All of the matches are on the the Falcon Sports YouTube channel. So if you go to their YouTube channel, you just click live. You've got uh, all four of these quarterfinal matches are on. Give you some scoring updates, live scores here. Jonas Magpante is up 3-2 over Bernie Regulario. Sun Yi Son over Ruslan Chinahov is up 2-1, and Changshen Yi, excuse me, over 5-1 over Oliver J. Villafuerte. Another
Another one that
perfect
looked,
break.
yeah, pretty good. And I was gonna say earlier, if you want that recipe
Mm,
to win matches and then again winning tournaments behind it, it's really a lot of, staying away from the big mistake, but then here and there putting a rack together behind winning a game or two. It's not about big packages all the time. We see Josh do that sometimes, or certain players really run a lot of racks. But if you pay attention to Josh and those guys winning the tournaments, it's just, putting maybe 3 together during a match or 4 after you win a game. That's how you stay confident. You keep a lot of leads that way as well.
yeah, and Rhoda looking for the 2-pack here.
Yeah, this is a little odd. I may draw above here like that. It's kind of funny floating forward. I mean, it's okay, but you could get near the purple over it. I don't think snookered is really a problem, but all right, now he's raising the tip, so he's just going to use his talent to float by the 8. Very good. So that's all preference. Hey, do I want to roll that first shot, or do I want to hit it with a little more authority and draw 1 rail above the 8 for the cut shot on the pink? He's perfect though. He can really get to the center of the table, a little angle on the purple to get back on the green 6. This is perfect. Yeah, really good. And if you watched Jeffrey a few years ago, I'd say 3 years ago was maybe the first time I really saw him play in person. He looked a little more snookerish. little things. Now it seems it's like a combination of something real simple and steady, but I think a little more rhythm in the swing and whatnot.
Yeah, and I think it's great for a pool player to have that balance of having some other um, disciplines under their belt, snooker, three cushion, uh, you know, things other than just pool. It adds more to your arsenal.
Oh yeah, they all complement each other. I mean, now quite a bit different in some areas, but if you're ever going to make the perfect, Q sports player, I think it would be bits and pieces of different discipline champions, right? And whether
Yeah,
it be a little technique here, oh, I'd love to stun the ball like this player, but then I'd like to spin the ball like Efren and whatnot. So, all right, he got a little heavy with the 7 to the 8, so now he's got to float this a bit. You know, 4.5-inch pockets, you just go ahead and head to the bar to get a beer because this one's over. But these kind of shots can certainly be missed on the 4-inch pocket. These are no hangers.
yeah, and you saw it wobble in a little bit.
Yeah. All right, extending that lead.
Yeah. And I believe I caught a replay, but I think it was in the previous rack. It was the two ball that got him going in the previous rack to start this two pack off. And this was a real sweet shot to get started in this run.
Almost deserved that little break catch in the gap between the 8 and 9.
Yeah, I agree. We talked about the pool gods, and I think they said you deserved that one. It was a good stroke, good
Yeah, and
clean
hey
hit.
guys, I do see the chat there. Hello to everyone, by the way.
Yes, we are reading the chat. We just haven't gotten too many messages. It looks like Snipe Paul says this is another hill. Yeah, well, Harry's got to get himself back to the table first. Rhoda doesn't seem like he really is interested in giving up the table for a little while.
Yeah, and seems like he's tuned in his break a little quicker. Of course, he's had more opportunities to do so, but well, yeah, thanks. Trong, is it? Trong Long Win 2148. Happy to be here. Good to call this match.
And just for you guys at home, Jeremy will be joining us in the next round, the semifinal. Will be on there as well for you guys.
Caught that a little thick. That's why the one pushed through and caught a little short, and the cue ball just came one rail. So talk about the opportunity and when it's needed. I think it's here for Harry.
Yeah. I mean, the scratch on break literally costed Harry three. Was it three racks in a row? Or no, they did have a
Uh,
back and forth in one of them.
yeah, that's how Harry got from.
Yeah.
It was 3-1 or something, and it got to 3-2, I believe it was. And okay, I'm trying to look at real potential problems. Of course, the obvious work is from the 6 to the 7 later in the rack, but still got to stay in line here. He's okay. Maybe a hair straighter than he wants, but still all right. So with the 5 so near, he can come one rail between the 7-9. He's close enough to it to really command the line and speed.
Yep.
Just needs to get, yeah.
Looks like that's what he's doing. Gotta watch that side pocket.
Yeah, and I like what he did there, though. So instead of trying to float where you're kind of in between on the stroke, with the 5 so near, he knew he could handle a little distance on the pink 4 if he fell straight, not that big a deal. So he went ahead and committed and came to the second rail, which I think when the pressure's on is a real smart decision. All right, he needs to go forward here. That way he gets decent on the 5 to get to the 6.
Six
Not
to
too
the,
happy.
yeah,
He must
six
have
to the,
fallen dead straight. Sorry about that, Patrick.
no, that's all right. 6 to the 7 looks a little tricky. You got to make sure you get past the 8-9. But
Exactly, yeah. He would like the angle to stun to his right, but that's not there, so he's gonna have to play a little straighter and flatter on the 6, and he's gotten what I think maybe almost the worst angle. Now he may have to draw the ball short side on the 7.
yeah, he could come. Yeah, it looks like he is drawing. Yeah, for short side on the 7.
Be one rail out. Yeah, he hit it sweet though.
And where's the 8 going to play in the left side pocket or bottom left
Be
corner?
an 8-9 combo maybe. Looks like
Yeah,
he could go 2 rails out above the 8 to me. But remember the 6 ball or the 5 ball he missed to get on the 6 in rack
he-
number 3?
it was very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you're supposed to shoot it like that or stun it 1 reel up, whichever. Nice shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like we've got about 300 people watching live. Let us hit us up in the chat. Let us know where you guys are. Where are you watching from? Which player are you rooting for? So great run out off the scratch on break from Rhoda, and a great run out from Harry to get it done, keeping himself in this match. Looks like we're going to have a player timeout, which is good timing. I need a timeout myself. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Introducing EvoSports, the future of live streaming. It's now easier than ever to stream and share your action. We use the best equipment for high-quality HD image. Invite a commentator from anywhere in the world. EvoSports is the evolution in billiards entertainment. Live streaming has never been easier. Simply enter your name, add your race length, and start your stream. Join us on YouTube at EvoSports Streaming or at evosports.live. All right, looks like we're back from the timeout, back in action. Harry Vergara to break, just coming off of a run out off of the previous rack. Rhoda scratched on break. Harry took advantage, and now he's going to try to continue the momentum here in rack number 10. So I noticed, Jeremy, that the one ball tends to hit, when they miss, it tends to hit right about there. Is that a cutting it too thin or too thick or too hard or too soft? What's your opinion on that when you're hitting the one?
Well, it's kind
Going up
of
the
like a
side?
lot of things in pool. The same mistake or same result of you would call a mistake can happen from a few different ways. So if you're using more of a stun, if you get into the ball a little bit, you push the one through, which can make it hit short. If you catch it thin, of course, it can do the same. Catch it too thick, it can do the same. So there's a number of combinations with the types of spins you use and whatnot that can make that one come short. That's why you see that being the more common miss than the one going long.
And I really like that about the matchroom break and the break box and the 9 on the spot. It just makes it so much harder because, like you said, there's so many different variables in how to be successful with that break, and very few players, can do it very consistently. It takes the top level consistency to master that break.
Yeah, and you got to put the time in to make yourself comfortable. It's not how most players um, started out breaking the ball. So your instincts, you know what I mean, are to put a little more on it, I think, which can cause mishits on the ball a little bit. That's why you don't see many of the players really be able to go at it with all they got with the cut break. There are a few, Kachi, SVB, of course, Federer can tune it up pretty well, along with a few others. But overall, it's some type of, 60 to 75% break. And you got what a pot that was there. And that's
Yeah.
that's one of Jeffrey's strong suits is really just knocking in those tough ones. Boy, what a big shot that would be if he can get out here. And not saying there was a ton of momentum for Harry, but at least he got on the board and got to the breaking in and just snubbed that with a shot like that on the one and maybe a run out. And along with putting him on 7 games, I think you put Jeffrey, boy, that was center cut as well. I think you put Jeffrey as a pretty big favorite to go on and win this match. Oh, we got a few people in the chat now.
Yeah, Joel says Harry Hill will win this. He's going to have to fade a big lead from Rhoda and a Jeffrey Rhoda that is well in stroke at this point. I'd say that's tough to do.
Also, I think breaking the ball's the better between the two. But I will say to that point from our friend on the chat that I've seen Harry when it comes down to the end where they're really close. I've seen him pull out a lot of matches, when it's at that 9-9, 10-10 kind of situation. I'm not saying Jeffrey hasn't either, but Harry's kind of almost known for the dramatic when it comes to the end of those tight matches. All right, really wanted to hold the angle there. Kinda like to each his own in that regard. I may have spun up a little closer because you can handle so much. I think the 7 does go in the side with the 8 pretty open also. So if you happen to fall straight on the 6, you could draw back pretty easily. But also at the same time, it's good to see a guy lean on his skills, like, not fear this shot at all.
And he hit that like there was no fear. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
100% confidence that he's going to make it and control the rock.
And, you know, it's not hard for me to recognize just because of doing so much commentary, knowing these guys, and of course played at a pretty decent level at one point. But
Yeah.
I love it when I see players that have put in the time. You can tell these guys are away from the table, training hard, swinging with a lot of confidence. Just appreciate all the effort, really.
Yeah. And do you think that playing under the shot clock pressure has any effect on these players, Jeremy? You're familiar with the
Well,
shot clock and how that, can get into a player's mind.
yeah, I mean that. Yeah, I mean it's weird. A lot of players, we start out a little too fast as players, then we learn to slow down, maybe bog down a little bit, and then we get under pressure, and it happens even more. So it's just something you got to get used to. But I think it eventually almost helps every player in a sense. It
And
makes them realize that it's like a lot of sports, really going with your gut, your instinct,
do you mind if I
and
go to that story of the Moscone Cup and the when you got
time
pulled
foul.
in? Yeah, and the time foul, and you asked for the ball to be cleaned, and you were
Yeah,
expecting them to
no one's
call.
asked about it in about a week, Patrick. So why might as well go ahead and bring it up again.
While we're talking about the shot clock, I figured maybe the viewers would like to know what was kind of in your mind on that one. And
Well, it was obviously my mistake overall. I mean, um, but it's odd that um, the last thing I'd seen in that situation was the day before in that tournament, and that Moscone and Jason Shaw was in a match, and there was a fly on the table, so the referee stopped the clock um, for the fly to get the fly off the table. We're in alley pally, and
yeah,
flies can get, it's just a big
sure.
old building, right? So
Yeah.
So then while the clock was stopped, okay, caught that a little thick again. He's going to give Harry at least an opportunity at the table. Um, while the clock was stopped, and this is no excuse, obviously, but I just got a little confused by this because Jason asked for the cue ball to get cleaned, and Marcel cleaned the cue ball with you know what I mean, without the clock starting or anything like that. And I just kind of like was in so much of a zone. If I just look back at my teammate, anything, I'm going to get down and shoot that ball. The only reason I never asked for the ball to get cleaned hardly ever in my career, but I was really hitting a lot of soft spin, extreme spin on the 6, really at a light speed. And David's chalk, he had left a big old clunk of the chalk right on where I was hitting the cue ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I was hitting it with speed, I wouldn't even ask, but I was hitting it so light, I didn't want to let the tip slide right off the ball, really. All right, Jeffrey's going to take this, I think, and he should really. It's too easy of a kick and stick not to. Oh, he caught it way thin. Now, what Jeffrey needs to do on those, as you notice, he never really went and looked from the rail to the ball, just to give
Hmm.
yourself a little better guidance, you might say, into the shot, because that was a pretty easy kick and stick.
That's a good
All right.
point. Coming around to look at it from the rail to the ball, like you said, gives you that
Absolutely.
real clear vision line of the spot to hit.
Yeah, and it's not about stressing. It's just kind of like, good shot there, playing off the pink. When you're doing all these things, you're just trying to, give the brain some mild information, just trying to feed it something to look at. That way it can kind of know where to aim at to be essential, really, or to be simple about it, rather. It's not about stressing on where to hit. It's just about, like I said, just casually feeding the brain a little information. All right, the 7 doesn't pass the 9. So even though these are very playable with the, you know, easy to get on the pink, not that hard to wrap the cue ball around to get on the purple, there's still some work from the 6 to the 7 to the 8. All right, so now he's got to make a decision. Is he going to move to the 8? Do you move the 8 into the 7, trying to move the 7 a little bit?
Or is it
Is he going
possible that he plays the 7-9 combo?
to, okay, he could hold it. Uh-oh, he got elevated here.
Yeah.
If the 6 was out to where the 7-9 was just like dead easy, but now he's got to get the speed control great to get on the 7-9. So I expect some type of short side position on the 7. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, that was a real good recovery, being jacked up over the top of that 8 ball. He hit that as about as good as he could have.
And I call that just use your skills a little bit, speed control. Well, this got a little thinner than he wanted, but still okay. He's close quarters. Great shot. Yes, this is the quarterfinal. Good to see Ruslan Chinahaw playing so much pool, in my opinion. What a talent. He's in this quarterfinals as well.
Yeah, let's take a look at the scores, live scores in this quarterfinal round. Jonas Magpante is up 7-3 over Bernie Regulario. Ruslan is up 4-3 over Sun Yi. And Oliver is trailing 4-5 over Chang Shin Yi. So all close matches, really mostly close matches. I guess Jonas and Bernie are. Bernie's having a heck of a tournament. He's shooting real well.
He's still a very, very young man and highly skilled. Bernie Regulario.
I'll tell you who draws a crowd is the young kid AJ Manis.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got Star Boy. He's got a lot of fans. He gets on the stream and just fills up with thousands of viewers immediately. What do you think of AJ, Jeremy? You think he's got it? He's got what it takes to be a world champion, world beater someday at some
Oh,
point.
absolutely. I mean, his skill set's super high. I think his demeanor is a big asset that'll only improve or become a bigger asset, actually, just calm. He's got a lot of fight in, believe it or not. I think the one thing is, I think the kids these days, they got to make sure they stay on that path. There's a lot of that social media and things that can, consume your time a little more than maybe is desired.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I get it. That's their era, and they've grown up with it. So I'm not knocking it. Just beware of it. Um, but I think him and Januarta, I think Albert from right here in Indonesia, just those two guys are going to be two of the ones that lead Asia in 9-ball pool moving forward. And again, the 9 kind of pushed out of the rack guys, and again, the 1 comes short behind that. Okay, do you kick and take the kick off the end rail? It's probably a little easier than the kick off the side rail. Just a kick and stick, try and bang the 1 to the side rail, then down between the 2-7.
Yeah, he looked at the side rail and he chose the long rail kick, like you said.
Yeah, again, he didn't really come look down here on the bottom rail. You really want to come and look from behind it. So if we look at back at this match, Roda's been awesome offensively. He missed position with ball in hand on the 2 early, remember, and he just kinda got
Yeah.
down and shot the safety, missed it, the safety. Harry made a nice shot on the 2. Then it's been 2 relatively easy kick shots that, have gotten away since. Alright, he's gonna spin this, may go into the 2 ball here.
And now getting back to the 3. He got it in the corner, so the draw shot should get him nice to get position for the rest of the run out.
He's got a nice angle here. I'd be surprised if he takes it in the corner and chooses the side and chooses to move the cue ball.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at that as well. It seemed like the corner was the logical choice there. That was a lot of traveling with that cue ball, whereas the corner pocket, the cue ball only needed to travel about a foot or two, just a draw stroke, right?
The way he moved the ball, I do understand it, but that almost tells you that maybe a hair of fearing the miss on the 2 in the corner, maybe.
Okay.
Now he's gotta hope the 9 doesn't tie up the 6 on the side rail a little bit. He's gotta float this a hair. Beautiful touch. Now you can go 2 rails or just kinda 1 rail at the ball. Most players would come 2 cushions. And what you do with 2 cushions also is you kinda eat up the speed of the cue ball a little bit on these thin ones. So when you get on bouncy tables, you have to have that side spin involved to kinda slow the cue ball down in a sense. You understand what I mean there,
I
Patrick?
do. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why if you're not really able to put side spin comfortably in certain situations, it's hard to really keep command on the cue ball. Got a little in between here. You may see him just play from underneath on the 7. I kinda like drawing it still. I feel like the angle's still okay to do so. May even get into the 8 a little bit, depending on how good you hit it. Okay.
I can see how you're a good coach, Jeremy. See, you have a great way of describing the actual physics of the game, of what's happening on the shots, and I think that's a lot of pool is just understanding the physics. Um, I think you do a really good job of explaining that.
Well, I was a pretty knowledgeable player, but I tell you, 10 years of teaching now has really, made me think about it quite a bit, but people always talk about the geometry, but it's definitely more about the physics in the game, the way the ball, the collisions and, what the angle of the cue does to the cue ball and just different things.
I got my business partner Justin in the chat razzing me a little
I
bit.
just saw that, yeah. I figured he knew you. So,
Yeah.
right, 7-5. So Harry now taking advantage, and it's been a couple again, little kick shots that have gotten away from Jeffrey. So, but I
Yeah.
still feel like Harry's got to get the break going. He can't continue to dry break and really overcome what Jeffrey's doing.
Yeah, you have to keep the control of the table because Jeffrey's not going to miss those kicks very often. Normally in those situations, you're getting tied up pretty good. He's staying in control, but like you said, he's just been a little off on the kicking angles and losing control of the table in a couple of these racks. That's allowed Harry to stay in this match, really.
Um, a lot of times, of course, it doesn't look like he's changing his break position too much. Maybe he broke early on the right, but the break will start to turn around for you, whether it's the one in the side or he just gets another ball down and gets a shot. Right, there's the ball down. It's going to get covered up here a little bit, so it's going to be a push out most likely.
Where do you like pushing to here, Jeremy? Do you think
Uh,
tying up a ball here? Um,
Well, if the
oh,
3-5, if the 3 doesn't pass, I don't really worry about tying a ball up
that's true.
too much, but there's
It's
a few little kicks you could roll out to, probably. Hmm, this is kinda difficult, really.
I mean,
Right-handers.
my brain
Go ahead,
kinda
though.
went to kicking at the 6 ball, and maybe if you can kick the 6 ball over into this, traffic underneath here, you're making, because I think the 3 might play. He looked at it, we don't really know, but if it does, I like tying up a ball, getting that 6 ball underneath the 7 and 9 just to make it messy, but what's he gonna do here?
Trying to get it to where it's not easy to cut it in or not possible, not the bank's not that great
Oh,
either, but also,
it's
you'll
clear.
notice now chipping the right side of the 1 to get up table isn't that easy either. If you play underneath, you offer the bank or an easy run of the cue ball off the right side of the 1, so
Huh, that's
pretty smart
interesting.
push.
Look
Yeah.
at that, gives it back. How often do you see a player give back a push out when you can see the entire ball? I mean, that's incredibly rare.
I'm kinda curious what he's gonna shoot at here. This may be something with quite a bit of speed. Oh, no, he's gonna play it lightly. Really smart.
Yeah, what do you think about Rhoda giving that, or, yeah, Rhoda giving him that push out back? Do you agree with giving it back there? I
Well,
mean,
he obviously didn't recognize the shot that Harry shot because Harry wasn't far away from getting the snooker.
yeah.
But also, alright, so he can cut the one in, it looks like. But also he's made a couple of mistakes on the safety, so maybe he was like, "Ah, just don't like it. Let me see what he does." Great shot here.
Yeah, well,
And he has made a couple of mistakes on the safeties, but past the first game, he's been really good offensively.
and we're gonna find out right now if that 3 plays. He's going to look at it again. I believe it does, but if not, oh, maybe not, because he's looking at the bank now.
Think as flat as he is on the 2 and the 4-inch pockets, I think it's real smart to play for the bank. It's just kinda right in front of you. You don't have to really do too much on the 2 and simplify this first shot.
Yep.
I got to where he can just high ball it and kinda bump the purple away, I believe. Key to this is don't let your eyes get taken, "Oh, where's the cue ball going off the 3?" Make sure you commit to the bank.
Did he
Long.
rub the purple first there, or
No, no, no.
no? Okay.
See how the purple got cut backwards?
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, so it
coming on
wouldn't
the
have
way
done
out.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. Right. So he should be able to comfortably cut the right side of the 3, go between the 6-9 and up on this back of the 7-9. You should be pretty comfortable with this. This also kinda rolls the 3 over to the side rail.
Nice little window right here to get the
Yeah, that's
cue
pretty
ball.
natural, it looks like. Oh, he decided to go the other way. Players do this because of distance a lot of times, that security of the distance, but
Yeah.
also sometimes you don't get the snooker with that, where I thought he should have been comfortable enough to come off the right and go down behind the 7-9 off the top cushion. Now he's gonna jump, bang this around, try and hold the cue ball here on the bottom. Yeah, so now has he really put himself in a better position? And this is something not by chance. This is something you have to account for when you're playing that type of safety that Harry played. All right, does he want to ease it? Does he want to try and cut the 3 off the left and run the cue ball? Maybe get some cover with the 6 or the 7-9. I kind of like that. I kind of like cutting the 3 to the right and running the cue ball. You could play it easy, I guess, and just kind of bang the 3 up a little and lay behind the 8, but
So you're like
really.
you're going thin off the 3 and bringing the cue ball down in this
Yeah, I
path?
was thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sending the 3 over towards the 6.
he may go for a bank here to the lower right. The reason being is if you miss it. Oh, what a shot! Oh, what unlucky that was.
Yeah, very unlucky. If that misses the side pocket, he's got a real good safe with distance, but
That's how difficult he felt like everything was to try and control the object ball so much from distance. You know what I mean? That's very difficult. All right, big game here to get back to a 3-game lead. Perfect. He's going to fall perfect here.
I think one major difference between pros and amateurs is pros tend to know what their odds are and their chances are and their success percentages better than amateurs do because they just have more experience. And so they choose the right shot more often because they just know what their capability is. I feel like a lot of amateur players don't have the knowledge of as much knowledge of
Yeah, that's
what their abilities can are, right? I think
yeah, and even if their abilities are good, what the chances of that's if you shot it this many times, how often would things come out and so on.
yeah.
So, and
I,
I
I
think
thi
that has a lot to do with it.
yeah, I think at the pro
Like a lot of
level,
times
it's very
amateurs
rare.
feel like they should just be able to do it, you know what I mean? And
Yep.
just so
Yep, I'm one of those players is why I know that. So,
well,
I
we
get
all
myself
were
in
at one
trouble.
point.
Yeah, I get myself in trouble, but, um, watching a lot of pro pool is good for your game because you see that they don't take low percentage stuff, they do things where they know they can control. You rarely see them unless it's a desperation move and they're in a spot where they can't do anything. You rarely see them taking on a shot they're not comfortable with.
Yeah, and then at the same time though, everyone thinks it's real clear cut. Oh, you should always play safe right here if you're in this position, and that's not the case. Sometimes, I've been in matches where I felt like I needed to make a big shot to turn things around. I played alternate break formats where, it's my break next, so maybe I should have shot at that ball, taking a chance to win that game, knowing I'm breaking next. There are scenarios to where I don't think it's always clear cut. And I think that also throws another variable in, not only for amateurs, but for us pros as well.
Yeah, agreed. I'll give you a quick score update. Bernie is catching up here. It is Jonas 7, Bernie is at 6. So that's all the matches now, except for this one, are all within a game apart. So some real close battles to see which 4 players make it to the semifinal in the next round.
And of course, those matches have to conclude to get on to that next round, but it's going to be roughly 3:30 local time, or excuse me, 3:30 my time, which would be, you would have to give them the math. I'm not sure the difference between
Yeah,
Indonesia, Jakarta. Yeah.
yeah. I have to Google it every time, to be honest. I think it's 14-hour difference between me
Okay,
and
that
yeah.
sounds about right. Yeah.
So yeah.
So anyways, guys, to clue you in, it'd be 3:30 Texas time, AM on Sunday morning. All right, Jeffrey's been taking a little off, getting a really good result. Oh, the one caught both corners.
And the
Cue
cue
ball
ball
though.
finds the side. That's very similar to what we've seen a couple of times from RODA in this match. Um, Same scratch, almost identical. Didn't get kicked in.
I went back and forth a couple rails. Now, is he going to shoot this in the side and follow down? He could shoot it in the corner and follow. But this is kind of important. He's going to have a nice space once the one's gone to get on the 3, but important he gets on the 2 to make this easy, because once he gets on the 3, the rack really opens up with the last 5 balls on the bottom end there where he's at. All right, the speed looks pretty good. May fall a little straight. Issues now because the pink 4's there as well.
Yeah, he's going to have to draw this around the pink 4, isn't he?
Yeah, if the angle allows that, and he's gonna have to spin it with some low left, so
Yeah, that just getting that. I mean, any little bit of roll one way or the other would have made this way easier to get on the 3. But being perfectly straight like this, that amps up the difficulty level by quite a bit. Yeah, running into the 4, like you called, it's got to look at the 3, so he's got options for safety.
looks like he
Yep.
can see enough of it to bank it just mildly between the 6 and 5 and just coast behind the 8. Looks like it lays pretty perfect to do so, really. You could put a hair right English on it if you wanted to kill the cue ball. Oh, he's cueing low now, so not sure. Could be dragging it. Kinda
Yeah,
did the same thing, but caught the double kiss.
the drag draw stroke.
Yeah, which is a, kind of Filipino specialty, really. Really a shot you need to know or a stroke you need to be comfortable with at certain times.
Yeah, it's not common that you need it, but it's a difficult stroke to master. The drag draw. That's, in my opinion, pretty advanced. Most players struggle with that, getting the
Oh,
timing
yeah.
down of the follow through.
Yeah, the key is to make sure you finish your stroke. A lot of people try to kinda control where it turns over, and you just gotta understand,
Yeah, the trying to
um
hold it up, right, and slow
yeah,
down your you have to accelerate through, but, uh, it yeah, it's a
just a
difficult
little
shot to
different, that's
master.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's difficult to master for sure.
it's, depending on what level I'm working with, but even, some 600s in there that are really good players, it's something that we go through not on the first or second session, usually it's something a little further down the road. All right, Jeffrey looking to win 2 in a row and get 2 away from the finish line.
And out of the final 8 players, 5 are from the Philippines, but 2 Filipinos will be eliminated this round. When you look at the players left in this event, Jeremy, do you have an odds-on favorite? Not necessarily somebody that you're rooting for, but who do you think has the best odds of winning the event out of the 8 players left?
Think here. I'm not super familiar with the 2 from Chinese Taipei. Um, I've seen the names, of course. I think I've seen one of them play a little bit. The 2 other Filipino players, of course, a little new to the scene also. But I think I kinda like one of these 2 guys, to be fair.
Okay.
I think, when you talk about running deep in that experience, of course, Ruslan, I've always felt like was one of the, biggest talents, and a guy that really can make things look easy, and, he had some time away from the game, but I've seen him now a good year and a half, putting in a lot of time all over the globe, and, from what I've seen, he's getting his game back, so he's
Yeah,
certainly the type that can win it.
Ruslan has been very active on the tournament scene. He's in a heated battle with Sun Yi, 5-5, I believe that score is. And Jonas Magpente is up 8-6 over Burning Regulario. Chang Shen Yi is up 7-5 over Oliver J. Villaforte.
Yeah, and I've, of course, put my eyes on Bernie quite a few times, and like a lot of those young phenoms that come out, it's almost like we expect them to win a little quicker than they actually do for the most part, just because it's that tough and there's that many great players. But certainly a guy that's going to win many tournaments in the future. Right. Kind of went a little firmer with the break. Didn't get the one down. It's going to be snookered. Oh, he got the two down though, so
Yeah, he
he's
got a
okay with
ball
this.
in. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's gonna jump this. He immediately went to get his short stick, and a lot of reward here. He does have to get back to the three, so it's got to travel.
Center of the table would be awesome. Just a little cut shot on the three. Just no snooker is the one you don't want.
Right. And what are we gonna get? Okay,
Just
he got a
enough.
nice. He used a little bit of body English there to get that bump to work. And he's got enough to pot the three if he likes it. You like going offensive here?
Yeah, you can feel like you can go into the nine to slow it down, maybe go into the eight. I like going into the nine, taking my chances there. He's overcut it. He's overcut it. He's gonna get a little bit of a roll, it looks like.
Hmm. Not
I
sure
thought
from
he
the angle if
go
he's
ahead.
got it, but it's close. He might masse, you think?
Oh,
No?
he's snookered for sure, yeah.
Okay.
If he was a
Yeah.
little closer to the four, he would masse, but that far away and to get it to bite at the right time is very difficult.
Yeah.
So I don't mind the kick shot here. He's gonna
Um,
give him some kind of look. We'll see what now Bernie, this is where he's made a few little mistakes, is the safety side of things. So he's looking to chip the three, go by the eight, let the nine hold the three. So
So having the
not
eight as the
easy.
blocker, yeah.
Yeah. Key is here, you got to spin it a little bit. Yeah, didn't get the snooker. He's going to leave it difficult, of course, but
Yeah. But look what happened to the pink and purple though in the previous shot. They kind of tied up a bit. They were more open. Now do you think he's
yeah,
going to open them up on this shot?
I think good chance he catches two rails and clips the pink or the purple.
Ah, a couple of misses from Harry. He's had some opportunities. Not great, not easy opportunities, but
Jeffrey, just get the snooker the most simple way you can. Play the three by the eight softly and just roll behind the pink. He's overhit it again. So this is something he's got to, walk away from either this match or tournament and say, I need to put a little work in here, whether it's, between the ears, making the decision on the safety or just understanding why are they getting away from me. Big shot here. Kind of now or never. Yeah, and I almost feel like a little frustration there for Harry and not a
yeah,
guy that really shows that very often.
it did kind of look that way, and he didn't miss that bike. It wasn't close. Um,
A difficult shot. And if you're,
yeah,
a little lost at the moment, it can certainly not look too pretty. All right, something he excels, the bridge, the crutch. Watch out, cue ball. How good is this? And this ball's going to keep going.
oh my goodness. Gives a tap on the table of his cue saying, yeah, I got away with one there.
Yeah, but I feel like he hit it so well, it would have been brutal if he scratched for that ball to just keep rolling. I mean, he edged it beautifully, got the spin on the ball. All right, this is going to open up. So the frustration is that, of
Mhm.
course, the break was really not working for Harry so far, but he also knows some shots got away as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of both.
All right, one rail down between the 8-5. Needs to go a little bit to make things easy. Now he's got to work the ball a little. He's awfully thin on this pink with the purple near. and not a great path to run naturally. Does he float it? I don't think so. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I didn't think there was an easy path.
Hmm. Yeah, we still got more pool here. This is
May have to go for the bank cross corner. You know,
yikes.
he could just kind of float towards that upper right, let the purple bank out a little in the middle and test Harry from some distance. But is he going to play the kiss shot here? Excuse me. I think he can get at the 6. Never mind.
Well, Harry's coming back and he's got to shake off that frustration. He's jacked up over the 6 ball. It's not a difficult shot, but being over the 6 makes it
Oh, 100%.
a lot
Yeah,
more
the good thing
difficult.
for him
So
is the 6 is easy.
right.
Great shot.
Yeah, he really just paid all attention on pocketing that ball. Didn't really care necessarily where the cue ball ended up, knowing that he can put the 6 in the side from anywhere, pretty much.
So he was kind of looking at 3 rails inside the 8 here. Oh, he caught it way thin. See you later.
Mm,
See you later.
yeah.
Is he going to draw this for the 8 in the side, or does he want to follow for the upper corner for the 8 in the side?
Yeah, looks like he's just going to draw it back, but
I always kind of like to follow myself if it's not ridiculous, right? So, as I feel like my speed control drawing it, I'm never going to miscue. Just always feel like the follow, for me anyways, was a little more comfortable.
yeah, I think that's normal. I think, yeah.
Okay, this is to get to the heel and the way the break has been going and maybe some frustration. You feel like it's just a matter of time before Jeffrey wins this match. But you never know.
Yeah, Harry's definitely got to shake off the frustration. We definitely saw it in that rack. A couple of shots that it just seemed like he was a little bit visibly not 100% into it mentally, as we all get with pool as pool players. You know, when we miss opportunities and things don't go our way, it's hard to keep your head positive no matter what the scoreboard says. Uh,
Yeah, and the funny thing is, if you're down 10-5 or whatever those numbers are, and it just, the guys just played great and you just really hadn't done a whole lot wrong. Of course, you don't like it, but there's a lot different mentality moving into the next game, right? You're just wanting that chance. So you feel like you can still do things that you've done before, which is certainly win 6 games in a row from off of anybody on the planet, right? So,
yeah.
we'll see though.
Well, step one is he's got to win this rack, and then he's got to break really well the rest of the rest of the match. And I always say when you're down like this, you pretty much have to play perfect, and you have to get some luck. You need both at that point. You know, when the score gets to that level.
And I think it goes back to the break rule and the tougher pockets. See you
Oh, there
later.
it goes. That's
Golden
the
break.
9. So he snaps the 9 to close out the set. So Harry doesn't get another chance at the table. And that's going to do it. So Jeffrey Rhoda advances to the semifinal round in this event. And he's going to, looks like, immediately get some time on the table to work on his breaking technique.
Yeah, well, I think maybe also checking he knows he's going to give himself a good rack. He's wanting to see, is it really me maybe, or maybe sometimes the rack wasn't as good as it should have been. That's another thing that players will kind of confirm with themselves. But I enjoyed it, Patrick, and I'm
Yeah,
looking
I
forward to the
enjoyed.
semis.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see you in the semi round. We're going to have our choice. It's going to be depending on what happens in the remaining matches. Oh, it looks like Jonas just won over Bernie, 11-6. So I believe that match is just ending. So let's see, is it going to be Jonas and let's see here. Yeah, Jonas Magpante is going to be playing against Jeffrey RODA in the next round. I'm not sure if that is going to be on the Falcon Sports stream that they have there physically, or if it's going to be on the EvoSports channel. But we'll find out, and stay tuned. Hang out. There'll be more pool coming soon. Thanks again, Jeremy, and we'll see you for the semifinal round.
Absolutely. Thanks again, everyone, and stay tuned.